So today I basically stayed up a little bit more than planned. I'm gonna head to sleep soon, but I spent some time playing around with Lindy AI and like AI tools, AI agents. Man, this stuff is getting very good. Now, there's two things which I think are very interesting about AI, and I want to share some reflections on that. First one is, fuck me, is it gonna put a lot of people out of jobs? It basically just put my assistant out of a job. As much as that is sad, it is true. Like, effectively, that AI can do her job for faster, better, cheaper in every single way. That is fucking extraordinary. And so that will leave a lot of people struggling for jobs. On the other hand, it can make people extraordinarily more productive, but also it will open a larger value in people being able to be themselves and doing less kind of quote unquote shitty work. What I mean by this is like, okay, imagine, we needed people to do awful repetitive jobs. I don't know, like reading through some documents or like basically production line work, right? So imagine a large factory and you have a production line of workers and, let's say one worker just puts in the buttons on the trousers and that's all he does all day, every single day. He puts more buttons on more trousers and he shows up and, he's bored and he doesn't really like his job. Like this kind of like awful 9-to-5 situation, which is what a lot of the internet paints nowadays. That we will be able to get rid of. And I do think we'll leave like thinking into politics of like basic income. What do you do to those people who don't find jobs? The other side of it is AI is great, but it's trained on the average, right? It's trained on basically a massive content, and so it produces a very average outcome. And because it is trained on what's out there, the more you use it, the more it puts out. And so it kind of like it concentrates on this one very average performance line because it will continuously kind of feed itself. Let's say I write an AI agent that emails somebody else, but their email is managed by an AI as well. It's AI speaking to AI, right? And it's going to go in circles. What that means is there's an element of human creativity, which I don't know that AI can challenge. I don't have a confident opinion on that. Basically, so long as AI cannot challenge that, that means that humans will forever hold those jobs. And the people who can be most creative are the ones who will outcompete others way faster. And so I think investing in creativity is an extraordinarily important facility nowadays. That's one of my priorities as a business owner, is to focus on creativity. Actually, I saw CEO of the Walt Disney Company talk about that a little bit, which I think is extraordinarily smart, because I think that's what's going to differentiate. It's like, it's not about efficiency and all that right now. It's about how can you creatively solve problems or do things in an interesting way. And how can you creatively use human nature? Because human nature is not just about efficiency, it's about how you make people feel and think and whatever. How can you leverage that to make a bigger business? The person who can get most creative is who's going to win, not who can work hardest or whatever. Basically, this whole like AI thing removes, it's just remove, but it's like you cannot just purely outwork. The element of creativity and originality becomes even more important. I think it's just really interesting because it like you have to prove your worth through something other than the capability to fulfill some repetitive task, some task that is very straightforward and linear. Like, you cannot just be able to code, you must be able to communicate. Like, on the one hand, it makes things harder, but on the other hand, it makes better meritocracy for original ideas to rise to the top, basically. But yeah, it begs the question of like, what do you do? I don't know. I'm looking forward to play with it more, set up more like automations and things. I think also in the short term, like, it creates huge opportunity for disruption, because the companies that I compete with, right, who are incumbents in the industry, right, let's say they've been around for 50 odd years and they do hundreds of millions in revenue, they have no idea how to implement AI at scale. And to build, basically they've built a company from the ground up using really old processes, and I get to build one up from zero, from scratch, totally with AI. And so I think that prospect is extraordinarily interesting, and you will have, I think, opportunities to displace these huge, large companies and just do faster, better, and cheaper, because you will have faster, better, cheaper costs. That, to me, I find extraordinarily interesting as an opportunity. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about. I'm probably gonna have to sleep soon because I want to wake up early. Yeah, it wasn't a very productive day. And in fact, it was actually quite an unproductive day, which pissed me off a little bit. Wasn't the best time, but hey.